always.
We don't put it together on the paper.
No, it's pros and cons, right?
And we edited it, and we, so much.
I don't think they could really work that out. It
That was
was-
the biggest thing, is I have like half a day.
Yeah, I didn't have a point. And then you got the indirect. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get started. We're all in the right place, I hope. This is Busi 612, Advanced Organizational Behavior. Yes? Okay. As you can see in the back, I'm recording for the folks that are here at a distance, because you know you can do this online or come to class. And so particularly when I'm dealing with the syllabus, I just got an email from somebody saying, I don't know how to read your syllabus. Yeah, it's a little complicated, but it's complicated because of trying to do both things simultaneously. So I'm going to spell it out for them as well. Kevin Haltry is not here, is that correct? Michael Dieter Lizzie is here. Marsha Evans is not here. Anna Garino.
Hi.
Hi. Rhiannon.
Rhiannon.
How'd you say that?
Rhiannon, like Shannon, but Rhiannon.
Rhiannon. Okay.
I can play with that song.
I don't know that song. So that's not going to help me. Like Shannon, though, might help.
Yes.
Okay. Jared Moody is here. Mariana Santos is online exclusively, so she's not here. Colin Starnes is online as well, apparently. Jather Stevens, online. Amelia Welch, okay. And Ryan Wiggins. Okay. So we're going to get started. Does anybody need a syllabus? Everybody has the syllabus? Good, everybody listen. That's great. All right, we're getting off to a great start then. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over the syllabus. I'm going to talk about some of the assignments, particularly at some length. And then we're going to get into chapters 1, 11, and 3, I think, is what it is in the syllabus. We'll also talk about that first case study. So here is the syllabus, and I'm going to go over the things that I think are kind of important. You can read the course description and rationale on your own. That's not all that significant to what we need to clarify. Course materials. So you have here, Strunk and White, the elements of style. See this? Has anybody seen this book before, somewhere in college? Okay, so we're going to use this, and I'll talk about why exactly in a little bit. Patterson's Change Anything, the New Science of Personal Success. Robbins' Organizational Behavior, that's kind of the backbone spine of the course. They're now in their 16th edition, and they change it every couple of years by moving a few words in each chapter, which is not worth the $200+ that it would have cost you for the new edition. The new edition is going to be well north of $200. How much did yours run you?
I rented it. It was like so cheap. 30-some bucks for something.
Yeah.
All the books for this class are cheap.
Yeah, and that's intentional. I've been a student for a long, long time as well. I'm sorry, 16? Yeah, I think you got the prize for the cheapest one. But nonetheless, yeah, oh wait, but this is really interesting for organizational behavior, right? She went, ooh, right? She thought, I had a deal until he came along. All right? Didn't she?
Well, it's crazy because the bookstores, they still wanted like $200 for it. I'm like, anybody in their right mind's not paying $200 for something.
That's right, and so where do they go? They go to Amazon. In fact, I provided all the Amazon links so you can just go right to it. Okay, if you want to go somewhere else, that's fine. But right, you felt like you had a deal for $30. I mean, right? That's because here's the foundational understanding. People are irrational. They tell you that they're rational, but they're irrational. The people that tell you that they're most rational are the most irrational. Just if you doubt me, find the most Mr. Spock-like person that you know, and then hit a nerve of something that they find really, really important. Might be their children, might be their political philosophy, something, and they'll go nuts, right? We're just not as rational as we'd like to think. Okay, so thank you for the illustration of that. So then you have Robbins, the self-assessment library. You have to buy a new version. I know you can find it for 1 cent on Amazon, but that's not going to do you any good if you don't have a new code. Okay, so you have to buy a new version with a code that has not been accessed yet. Okay? So that's the first thing. Now, let's scroll down a little bit. Required articles are listed as well, and pretty much all of those, I think, are listed in some way where they're all on Blackboard or something. Okay, so that shouldn't be a problem. Now, presentations, let's see, online options, I'll talk about how that works when I get down to the bottom. Learning outcomes, just what you would expect for this kind of course. Okay, so assigned readings, read all the assignments, textbook, cases, videos, articles, posted by your instructor. Just do everything that you're supposed to do. Class participation, it's weighed heavily in here. 20% of the grade is just showing up to class and answering questions if you're here. If you're not here, the equivalent of coming to class is doing the online alternative. So when you see in my syllabus the weird sideways L-shaped blue box, that is, if you come to class, that's worth 30 points. If you don't come to class, you do these things instead. Okay? So if you are online, you're doing 2 assignments every week, not 1 assignment every week. Okay? You came to class and you do an assignment. If you're online, you do the assignment and do the other assignment. Okay? That's the equivalent. And I spell that out in here. Change Anything plan. Okay, so there's this great book, Change Anything. I love the book. I read it a couple times. It was just like, wow, this really helps you understand, because what they do is they talk about 6 particular factors that get in the way of when you're trying to change something. If you've anybody been involved in a change project at work? Trying to change something and people get their feathers ruffled and they're upset with you, and right? It's really hard to change things generally because people kind of like the status quo. Even if they don't like the status quo, they like just cursing people for not doing things differently or their way. They don't like changing. Okay? Now there are a number of different success factors, and if you don't, they give this great example in there of somebody who they don't know and what they need to change. They change 1 or 2 success factors, and it's like, they give the example of you're pushing a Escalade up a hill, and then you get one person coming up, and another person, so now there's 3 people pushing, but what you don't realize is on the back side of that Escalade, there's 4 other people pushing the other way. That's what those change factors are like, right? So if you only get a couple in place, then you're not going to be successful. The more you amass on your side, the more successful you're likely to be. So the change project is pretty simple. What I'm asking you to do is find something small in life that you want to change. Okay? I want to regularly study from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. or whatever it is. Or I want to change this small thing at work. Don't take on something too big. Take on something that you can do over 6 or 7 weeks. Okay? Not that you're going to meet Mr. Wright. That might not work out so well. Or Miss Wright in some cases. Do you have a girlfriend, or are you looking? Because we have an assortment here.
Oh, you're looking at
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to help. Okay, so don't take on anything too big. Take only things that are manageable for this. But I want you to work through that process and show me that you can work the process, that you understand well enough that you can, okay? So that's what the change project is. Okay, that's a Change Anything plan. The real work scenarios. You'd be amazed the kinds of things that, well, maybe you're not amazed, you've probably seen them, but the kind of things that your peers will talk about, like, this happened, the boss really did this at work. It's almost like the reality of the things that I've heard from students is stranger than fiction. Like, I would, if I read a fiction book where these things happen, I'd be like, no, that's far-fetched, but really that happened to you? Okay, so we're going to look at some real work scenarios. Now, I want to talk about this particularly. So you're going to write out a scenario, and I'll give you an example in here, and then we'll have a chance to do a little bit of this a little later on. So you're going to craft real situations that could happen in the workplace. The scenario itself should be from 50 to 300 words. Now, 50 words is real small. It's like a paragraph. 300 words is no more than a double-spaced paper. Okay? That's the length. Okay? The scenario will present a dilemma and offer 4 multiple-choice solutions where one is clearly correct based on solid research. Now, I'm going to help you cheat to find the research. Not cheat, like not scamming, but I want you to find good research. I'm not trying to make it hard for you, and I'll explain how. Okay? Then you'll present a literature review, and I scrubbed that language. What I mean by that is I really want an annotated bibliography, not a literature review. A literature review is in prose. Annotated bibliography is just a little summary about the journal article that you read, and then the journal article properly cited. Okay? So you'll have a annotated bibliography of 5 primary source journal articles that will demonstrate the correct choice. Okay? So actually articles that really clearly show this is the way that it should be done. And you can't just say, you find a little line somewhere, well, so-and-so says this, and the whole article is about something else. So that's where the research comes in, but I'll show you a little quick version. So look at the last bullet point. Use management, leadership, or organizational behavior books, not any version of Robbins. Okay, I don't want you to just go to a different version of Robbins and go, oh, I have this organizational behavior book. Go to the back of the book, and then use the references here, or go to the place in the book where it's talking about effective events theory, or whatever the item is, theory X and theory Y. Let's say that's it. And then you find the references that are related to theory X and theory Y, because they'll go to mostly primary source kind of references. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay? Then you read those articles. And when you read those articles, if it works, then you can use that article. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to really make you a great researcher. I am trying to make you stand on solid research. So you probably want to go find other really cheap management textbooks that are a couple editions out of date, right? And you can find a really good deal, I'm certain this time. Okay? And use those, get a and share them. I mean, you know, somebody get a management one, somebody get an organizational behavior one. If you need to, go to a library or whatever. Okay? And then use that as the basis of your research. But you got to read the article, and then if the article fits, use it. Don't use an article that really doesn't fit. Okay? That's going to be bad news. But I'm trying to help you get a kind of shortcut to getting that. Okay? Now, that's real work scenarios. Okay, discussion boards. You're going to have discussion boards, and it will alternate week 1, week 3, week 5 are discussion boards, which means that you're going to have quizzes on weeks 2, 4, and 6. That makes sense? It's going to alternate back and forth. So if you come to class, you have a discussion board the first week, then you have a quiz, then you have a discussion board, then you have a quiz. If you don't come to class, you have a discussion board, quiz, and you also have a quiz, discussion board, quiz, discussion board, quiz, discussion board. So you have one of each. Does that make sense?
You're like a million miles an hour.
I'm sorry.
It makes sense. It's just,
Okay, so you'll have it rotate if you come to class. If you don't come to class, if it's all online, that's for you out there in YouTube land. It's going to be one of each, a quiz and a discussion board each week, okay? Just to make it flow, okay? I'm not going to talk about what the discussion boards are. You know how to do discussion boards. Everybody has done these before? Yes? Okay? So book presentation, outline, and paper. So what I really want, and I decided, I had some buyer's remorse about this as I was looking at it. Really, here's what I want from this assignment. I want a really clear, coherent outline on your whatever book you choose. So if you choose, what got you here won't get you there. I want a really clear, compelling outline of the whole book with page numbers related to it. I want you to be able to come in and talk about it with each other. Okay? If you're off in online land, you're going to have to record a discussion about it yourself. I mean, just record a little presentation of what you found and showing me that you know it. If you didn't, if you're in class, you're just going to come and talk, okay? And then we'll kick around the ideas and compare some notes. It'll be really interesting to kind of compare how people see these different books interrelate. That's always an interesting kind of thing. And so we'll cross-pollinate some of these ideas. Bring outlines for everybody so that everybody can have these. These will be useful in later courses, okay? I'm trying to help. All right. Book presentation, I don't mean you're going to have to stand up and be really polished. Just talk about it, okay? Outline, and don't worry about any kind of paper or anything. That's what I was talking about, buyer's remorse. You do not have to write paper. Okay? Let's scrub that, okay? All right, so don't worry about the PowerPoint unless you are in online land, in which case, if you're not going to be in class, I want to see the PowerPoint as I described, okay? All right.
In class, no PowerPoint.
If you're in class, you don't have to have a PowerPoint. We're just going to kick around the ideas.
Just outline.
Outline and you.
Sweet.
Yes, okay. Peer coaching. So over the course of the semester, what you're going to do is I'm going to break it, as we're talking about things in class, I'm going to stop at certain points and say, okay, talk about it with a group. Like if there's, right now there's an even number, so break up into 2, 2, and 2, or however you decide to break it up, okay? If it's an even number, it'll be, one group has three, whatever. But you just kick around the ideas and think through it before we come back together and talk about it. That's what peer coaching is. Okay? Exams. So you have, well, let's scroll down to course grading and policies. So you have the written tests, class participation, work scenarios, exam 1, 2, 3, group evaluations, cumulative final exam. Grading scale. Now this is really important because every semester somebody doesn't pay attention to this, and it's the person who doesn't pay attention that needs to pay attention to it most, because he's going to be that person that's going to be, well, I thought I had a 91. What's it say?
92.
91's an A. No, it's not. 91 is a B. It's a graduated scale where the top 8 is an A, the next 10 is a B, the next 12 is a C. I'm kind to the dumb. Okay? That's how it works. All right? So please, please, please pay attention right now. 92 to 100 is an A. 82 to 91.9999999 is a B. Okay? C, the same cutoff at a 17. Okay? All right. Let's see, attendance policies, you're supposed to be in here. Now, because this is the way that we've structured it, attendance is very important. Attendance means that you're here and you're participating. Doesn't mean that you're here and you sleep. If you're here and you sleep, I will knock off 30 points. If you're here and you participate, and it's, even if it's a little off, but you know, like you're in a neighborhood talking about it, and you're participating, that's okay. You don't have to have the right answers, that's what I'm here for, okay? All right. Fatal error policy. Now this is really interesting and it's very, very important. The fatal error policy is, it's actually called an excessive error policy. It sounds dramatic when you call it a fatal error. Okay, so now in February, management professors got together after a school of business meeting and adopted this particular policy. And so what it is essentially in all written work. And here's a little blog about the link that I had about it. It has this excessive errors policy, and it talks all about it, so you can read it. Okay, so if I get written work, and your written work is just dramatically bad, the sentence structure isn't right, you can't get a subject and verb in every sentence, those kind of things, we'll kick it back to you. We'll stop at 4 errors on one page or 10 errors by the time we get to 10 errors over a number of pages, okay? The good news is that most of my assignments are like 3 pages, so hopefully we won't get 10 errors. That would be pretty bad in that length of time. But the idea is this, okay? I'm not just trying to teach you my subject matter. When you come to my class and we're talking about motivating employees, it's not just to learn how to motivate employees. We're looking at other dimensions. You're going to have comma MBA behind your name when you graduate, or for some, comma MA for your master's of arts and organizational leadership. In either case, your employers are going to expect more from you. Now, what I find is that if I don't ask for a high standard, and other professors have found the same thing, and that's what led to this, then we get in stuff that you would be ashamed to turn into your boss, right? So if you pursue this class like you pursue a promotion at work, you'll be just fine. If you turn in error-free work like you would to your boss, you'll be just fine, okay? We're trying to teach leadership and teamwork. That's why you do interactive kind of things. We're trying to teach communication skills. That's why presentations are there, as well as writing. Now, when we talk about writing, that's why I have Strunk and White required, okay? This is like the easiest, probably best book on just understanding the writing process that is out there. And it's small, which is nice, okay? If you haven't used this in college, you'll want to embrace it. I will give you 20 extra credit points if you, over the next week, if you outline this, including the sub-points of it, and turn that in. Just to outline it, that's all I'm asking you to do, because it'll help get in your head, and that'll be the best 20 extra credit points that you ever got. And the reason for that is, it's helping you write better while you're doing this assignment. Okay? So there's 20 extra credit points just for doing that. Now when I grade, I'm going to look at, you missed it, you didn't put a comma in the right place. And so now it reads differently. Okay? Well, I'm going to point to the section that's Strunk and White and ding you for that. Okay? So you know that I'm being objective, I'm not just making stuff up out of my head, going, well, that's how I like to say it. It's not bad. I'm trying to help you. Okay? Now, please understand, this is because we care and we want you to be a solid professional. That's a good reflection on you, a good reflection on CSU. Hopefully we'll get promoted sooner and give to the endowed Gertish Chair in Business. That's really the spirit of this. Okay? It's not to be mean. Okay, now, there's also the Gertis Addendum to the Fatal Error Policy. Dum, dum, dum. What's the Gertis Addendum say? In addition to the Fatal Error Policy, any paper that is returned to students for revision will automatically require students to take and pass the standards of writing test. So I created a little quiz based on this, okay? And you have to pass it in order to get that grade. You have to do it within a week or you lose those points. Okay, I'll let you take it as many times as you like, but there's more questions than there are you just scamming the system, so you have to learn it. Okay? Fair enough? It's because I care, I'm just trying to help. Okay? Statement on academic integrity, don't cheat. I mean, that's the simplest way of the statement on academic integrity. Every semester, I have to drum somebody out for cheating. Okay? It's not fun, and I don't want that to happen to you. Please, if you borrow somebody's idea, cite it. Show me that I borrowed this off this webpage, that's fine. You can cut and paste the big swath and put that into your paper. That's okay, as long as you also credit that person for that. Okay? Classroom policy, cell phones need to be off unless specifically authorized by your professor. And if you and I need to talk about something, I had a student once who, remember the earthquake in Haiti? Right? My family's still in Haiti. Yes, please keep your phone on. That'd be cruel and unusual to tell you no. Or if we need to work something out, let's talk about it. We'll work something out. Okay? But otherwise, cell phone's off. Now, if your cell phone rings, buzzes, or is even handled during class, you will receive a 0 for class participation as if you were not present. Anybody remember the rest of this?
If you bring cookies.
But you can redeem yourself by bringing the class cookies the following week. We eat a lot of cookies in this class. Yeah. So that has happened in the past, and so usually there's some kind of curve where it kind of starts out high and it goes by the end of the semester. People have learned to put their cell phone away or not, like, or under the desk. Like I can't see the reflection in your glasses, right? And the good news is it turns everybody else into a bunch of narcs because we want cookies, right? So that's how it works. So please keep your cell phone away. Okay, so let's go to the course overview. So what you'll see is a block that looks like this every semester. So it'll start with textbook reading, and it'll say, here are the things that you need to read. Okay? It has a change anything bit here. It has a few chapters of work behavior. And I realize that right now, you haven't had a chance maybe to read everything. That's okay. We'll catch up next week. We'll be on top of it. Okay? Case study, complete the Myers-Briggs typology before class. Okay. Then, you're in class right now. If you were not in class, then you would do the alternative to class, which is the balance of this blue box. That 30 points is the equivalent of this 30 points. Okay? So either you're coming to class or you're doing these activities out here, and if you're doing those activities, one will balance the other. Either way, whether you're in class or whether you're here, whether you're in class or whether you're online somewhere, you have to do DB1 and DBR1 this week. Okay? Everybody understand? Now, as we scroll up, let's look at week 2. So that's week 1. Week 2, we have our textbook readings as we had before. We have class. Here's our alternative to class. If you can't come to class, you do the alternative. Either way, you have exam 1. Okay? So if you don't come to class, you still have to do your online option paper, and you have to do exam 1. Okay? So it rotates back and forth between exams or tests and your other papers. Okay? Week 3, you're going to have you come to class and you discuss this, or you do your online alternative, your quiz here. Either way, you do your discussion board, part 1 and 2. Okay, pretty simple? Yes? Any questions? Yes, ma'am?
I have a bunch.
Okay.
The discussion board, so what is the duration? Like, what's the length that you're expecting?
I think I spelled out the length of discussion board stuff on here.
So that's something about quotations. Or
Something
you're
about
going to have to
quotations.
just highlight everything.
Okay, so here in week 1, we talk about literature review. It becomes, okay, so you have DB1, DBR1, and DP1. It becomes ultimately one final paper, which is no more than 3 to 5 pages of text, plus the annotated bibliography. Okay, so no more than 3 to 5 pages. Okay, that's what you'll ultimately come to. Your first parts are going to vary in length depending on what you find. Okay? So here, I'm just trying to get you to be able to find the research that's reasonably related to this and quote it. And show me that you can do it in proper form. Right? And then you're just creating the one final literature review, or I'm sorry, annotated bibliography. Week 3's, it's a similar kind of process. It'll wind up in the one paper, and that depends on how many people are here. I mean, the body of the paper should be no more than 900 words. That's 2 to 3 pages, 3 pages total, double spaced. Okay? Most of these assignments are geared to make you kind of work together. You do your part, you compare notes with people, and then you create one final product. Does that make sense? And the highest emphasis is going to be on the one final product. If you don't pull any of your weight, you lose half your points because you didn't do the first part. Does that make sense? Okay?
Yeah, so you're doing this with your team,
Yes. So you're going to be working together with other people.
so we have assigned team.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So already I'm posted on Blackboard the assignment.
Okay.
Okay?
So all this is done just with our team.
Just with your team. Correct.
I guess I missed the team part.
Yeah, no, I posted the teams on there.
Okay.
Now, if you're off in online land, they'll be doing a similar process, but with whoever is online that has not shown up to class. So if 2 of you don't come to class next week, then you have a larger pool
Okay.
to work with a team for the online assignment. Okay?
I'm confused about what you mean by the paper, though.
You'll,
Like the big paper.
right, so normally when you have a discussion board, it's, I put my stuff, then I say, good job, that's nice.
Right.
Which is kind of lame, but that's, good job, it's artificial, that's nice. No. You're trying to critique them and help yourselves work together toward one final paper, which is a group paper that you're going to submit, that you're going to get the same grade as everybody else's.
Right, so the first.
And so that's due
the
Saturday.
first part is
And that will be
find
due, I guess,
sources.
Saturday, yes.
The second part is discuss the sources, and the third part is put it all together into a.
And we just submit one
Yes.
on behalf of the team.
Yes, and this shouldn't be hard with the first one because it's an annotated bibliography. I mean, if you get your part straight,
Right.
then it should be pretty good for going ahead,
Okay.
right?
So instead of like.
Okay.
like there's two of those.
What other questions do we have?
Will there be a portal for the extra credit, or do you want us to submit hard paper, email?
Yeah, there'll be a discussion board link for you to submit the extra credit. Remember, 20 extra credit points. Now, this will not be the most fun outline that you've ever done, but you will probably go in here and go, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to use lie, not lay. Right? You'll probably have those kind of aha moments, but this is good because this will keep you from making bad errors later on. So this 20 points will inflate to maybe 50 by saving you errors later on. Does that make sense? So please feel free to cash in on that. Okay, so what other questions do we have? Yes, ma'am. Anybody else?
The quizzes are online, right?
The quizzes are online, yes.
Okay.
Everything will be open book. Okay? Now, the tests are hard. I mean, I'm not kidding. The tests are worth 50 points each, I think, on here. Is that what I have? Right? They're hard. Okay? But it's open book. You have some time. You have like a minute and a half or 2 minutes or something. I don't remember what I put, but you have something like that per question. Okay?
Multiple choice?
Multiple choice, yes. Okay? So I'm testing you in different ways. The multiple choice is just one piece of the puzzle. The papers are the equivalent of if I give you an essay assignment. You have time to work on it, but, right? Okay, what other questions? Anybody else except,
I'm
I had a
trying to
question.
figure out where I'm.
Sir?
Maybe a stupid question, but, so what exactly do you mean by outline? Because I've never really had to outline.
Okay.
High school.
So let's look at this. Instruct in white. Here, you have an
Now, we're
outline.
going to a book report, or?
Here it's in outline form. Here's elementary rules of usage. Well, actually, you can use elementary rules of usage, and you can form the possessive singular nouns by adding s, right? When you want to say it's your stuff, right? Or it's my stuff, you say it's Darren's, apostrophe S's stuff, right? What do you do with Gertis?
Apostrophe S.
Is it just an apostrophe, or is it an apostrophe s?
Either way,
I think it's
No, not either way, not unless I'm a significant figure like Moses or
right?
Jesus.
No, wait, no, never mind, I confused myself.
Right, it's just, no, it's apostrophe s. But you need to know that before you get to my paper,
It can be extra.
right? Because I don't want to ding you for that. What? It's not either, it's not any choice.
It's an apostrophe S, really? It's just an
It's
apostrophe.
apostrophe, yes.
When you
I
erase an
think it
apostrophe.
could be
We
either.
all would have.
Here's
guessed
page
that.
1.
I thought it could be.
So I want the subsections that he deals with as well. Oh, look at that.
I think there's more than one way, I don't know, that's not how I remember learning it.
More than one way. So exceptions are the possessors of ancient proper names in ES and IS. The possessive Jesus is Jesus apostrophe. And such as former for conscience sake or for righteousness apostrophe sake. But such forms as Moses apostrophe laws usually replace that with the laws of Moses, right? Isn't that what you normally hear? Because
Right.
nobody knows how to write it.
Exactly.
Right? So you want to know this and get this right, because there are people that will judge you based on that. Seriously, there are people that, I'm not a grammar snob by nature, okay? I'm just tired of writing crap, or reading crap. No, really. I mean, I get really lousy work. I'm not like, oh, they didn't say that, right? I don't think like that. I know people that do, and I don't really like those people, so I come to this kind of secondhand. I just want you to write well, because I know that people will judge you by that. Do you understand? When I walk into a store, I can't tell you how many times I've been asked, excuse me, sir, can you tell me where to find whatever? And if I know, I'll tell them, it's on aisle 3 or whatever, because they think I'm a manager. Right? Because I look the part, right? I'm looking at the shelf, going, they think I'm counting the stuff on the shelf. Right? They judge me that way. Right? People will judge your writing the same way. And you got to understand, that's just the reality of where it is. Ladies, honestly, you're going to have a harder time. When you're a young female, you get judged differently than when you're a male or when you're an older female. Right? That's just reality. So I'm trying to help you. Please hear the spirit in which I'm telling you this. I'm trying to help you here. Okay? All right. Any other questions? Anna, yes, you.
Okay, last one.
Last one.
For the real work situations or
Mhm.
scenarios, does it just have to be from a textbook, the sources, or could it be from?
No, you don't take the textbook. You follow the textbook into the references.
So only
And then you
from-
find the journal sources, academic journal sources.
Strictly from the textbook.
Strictly, no, not strictly. I mean, if you want to go out and do it yourself, you can do it yourself, but it's going to be harder to find it on your own than if you have something to guide you and help you kind of find those things.
Right, okay.
I'm just trying to help you, because it really, my goal with the first assignment is to have you go do that, right? My goal with this assignment is have you get into the right kinds of materials and have a real solid answer. So I'm trying to do two different things, okay? Any other questions? Michael?
Alright, so this read, succeed, how can we reach our goals, right?
Yes.
So you read it, you find 2 sources to support it, basically, is that right?
Yes, something that's related to what you're reading.
So what are you actually writing on?
You're writing on other articles that relate to how those relate to what you've read in this little section.
So it's comparing.
Yeah, essentially.
I got a question.
You got another question? Yes, sir.
So where to succeed, how can you reach your goals? Is that only?
There's a little, if you go into weekly course content, there'll be a little link that will bring you from week 1 right to it, and it's like maybe 10 pages or something. It's just a little excerpt from the book. Okay? Other questions? Are we giddy yet? We seem to have become giddy already.
How long does it change anything, change planning?
Well, I'll give you the outline. It's also going to be online, and you'll just plug things in and show me that you're doing it. Okay? So you want to read the book, but the outline will help you kind of